back at it again. Didn't really took a break from posting videos, but was trying something new. Basically wanted to get the account down to closer to what I believe I would start with. I probably wouldn't start with $1,000. I got it to $1,000. Right, but you know, closer to something realistic, and then to see you know, how is it that we would be able to you know, it's something more realistic in terms of actually having it, and see how you possibly it could grow. The only thing that I would change, which I just can't seem to get into the account, is I would change. Currently, it's still running 1 pip to 1 pip to 1 to, for every pip it's $2 basically, right? So I think I would change that. It's the only thing that is happening right now. So obviously, in terms of getting the account down to this, you have to try to go in the opposite direction. And believe it or not, easier said than done. Some of the times I'm trying to lose money, and some of the times I'm gaining money. But obviously, I lost more than I gained. So in doing that, I actually by the wayside, I learned you know, I was scalping pretty much, right? I think I'm gonna take this thing here, right? I was scalping pretty much, and so let's put this thing down here. But I think I'm gonna take it. I don't know. Watch it. Right, I was scalping pretty much, and so I think I've gotten that down a little bit. However, what I have noticed is that in scalping, sometimes you can lose sight of the bigger picture, what is happening in the bigger picture, and thus the opportunity to catch larger movements at any point in time, you can actually miss that, right? And so that is really the challenge. You know, scalp, but and generally when you're scalping, I think the best times you're looking at in terms of Eastern Standard Time, best times are 3 o'clock in the morning, going to 5, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, thereabout. That's generally, those are the best times, right? Anything else after that time is really like, no, the market has to really dictate it, right? So I saw where you know, the market was compressed, and all the signs were there that you might have a gentle breakout. It was not as volatile as this morning, and so I said, you know, let me just take advantage of it, right? I think I'm just taking that for right now. Probably go down a little bit, but well, it's gonna be going down some more, but nonetheless. Right, and so so this morning I was there trying to scalp, and you know, so that is the thing I've learned. While you can scalp, so the scalping helps you to, you know, keep things active, right? You know, basically once the market is going across, you know, so it's not really compressing as much as you would have like a situation here and a situation that just occurred, right? So that's really the opportunity to scalp when the market is going across, and you would have look to see how the movement, if there's good movement in terms of the amount of pips, for example, right here. So when you look at it, so you had like the movement like 200 plus pips going up, going down, right? So there's opportunity to do something there, and scalping is the way to go right there, right? So it gives you a little time to see what is happening and to get things going as well, until you can you know, capture a greater movement in terms of pips, whether it's bullish or bearish. The key thing is, as I said a while ago, is that you want to still keep in mind what is going on, right? So you have to have a good idea of what is going on, and then so that what happened to me this morning wouldn't happen to you. That is, I was pretty much in the 1 minute chart, right? And the market, there's pretty much, market was breaking out, and you know, I wasn't paying attention to that. The market was actually breaking out. Alright, so I was here, market was breaking out. Indicators were telling me yes, I mean, but I was not looking at it. I was thinking this thing is, you know, but if I had drawn my resistant lines, show that this thing is moving in a little channel, then I would have, so if I drawn my resistant lines right here and show that this thing is moving in a channel, then I would have been aware that a breakout was happening, right? And so you always have to be aware of what is happening, and you know, right, I think it was right here though this morning, right here. So you pretty much have to be aware of what is happening, and so that you don't get left behind, right? I mean, realistically, you are not going to catch all the opportunities, but I mean, if you really want to catch the big ones, if possible. If you don't catch the smaller ones, that's fine, right? But the bigger ones, you really should get some of those, right? Because that is where the money is pretty much, right? That's where the money is. So that is what the focus is pretty much. So I am kind of honing what I'm doing, as I said before. Right. So it was this morning up here. You know, so I'm honing what I'm doing, getting ready, and to see if what I'm doing, if I can replicate it. So pretty much I brought it down to $1,000, as I said before, and I'm pretty much now trying to see if what I'm doing is sustainable. I can do it, and you know, you do this thing long term, right? And you're not just working with a $10,000 demo or whatever it is that they give you, right? So that is my way of doing it. So I brought it down to something more realistic, $1,000. Possibly I probably should have even brought it down to $400. But hey, let it sit. And all it means that, you know, depending on the amount of money that you started, you really have to price in your risk as such, right? So obviously, if I start with $1,000, it's possible for me to, for every pip I make $2, that's fine, right? But if you start with $400 or even $200, that can't work. So you have to pretty much price your risk, put your risk. It must be comparable to what is it that you're starting with, and also your trading style, right? So that is it. So we are realistically, I brought it down to 1,000, right? And one of the key things is this, that I saw. So, you know, I was, as I said before, I was, you know, you're scalping, but once this thing goes against you, try and set your stop loss. I figure, and the stop losses have to be pretty tight, right? And so that once this thing goes against you, because at the ratio that I have, you're in the black. Once you set it, you're down $20 right away, right? Before anything starts happening. And so pretty much as you blink, you can be down $100 if you're not careful. So you have to set your pip pretty tight, give a chance to minimize the loss, and you can run up your gains, right? So I saw that right here. What was it? 86. I think right here. So with all the trades, I did $62, $86, $40. It's $98 right there. 68 again, 82, and pretty much after I had calculated, it was probably just $8. So the key thing is to minimize your risk at all costs, so that when you do enter, and based on your strategy, then it's not a situation where you're just treading water, right? I think based on my calculation, no, I would be probably about maybe $200 up for the day, right there about. Alright, so alright, so that's the key thing. We have to always pay attention to the larger time frame of the market and keep in mind what is happening, so that we don't lose sight of what's really happening in the market. So then we lose the opportunity to really you know, pick up some pips. You really have to go through it, because it's not as simple as it looks in terms of you're looking at the chart right now and saying, oh boy, I can just enter right here and I'll hold. It's not that simple. As you say, I closed out my position here, but I guess it comes with practice as well. And again, you kind of have to, as I said, keep an eye on the larger time frames to figure out to see what's happening, right? So it's a 1 hour and 5 minutes when you go on the 1 minute here. So again, one of the things that I have to learn to do, once your indicator is telling you that the trend is pretty high, especially if you're on a 1 minute, is that you work with your stop loss and you know, keep coming down, so that if the whatever direction, whether it's a bullish or bearish direction, once it's trending continuously in that direction, then you just move your stop loss, keep moving, and that will keep capturing, right? Because as I said before, this morning, so I was in the trade right here, but I closed it off. I closed it off early, thinking that it would have been bouncing. Where should I be? Thinking that it would have been bouncing. Right, it would have been bouncing here, but you know, it was actually a breakout that was happening. And so the ADX indicator had indicated that this trend was high, right? But I was just, you know, kind of glad to get something and you close it out. But again, you have to have the confidence. That is why you have the indicators here, trust the indicator is telling you that, listen, this thing is high, right? And once you see a steep drop, then more than likely, you know, a little flow is happening. So when you look at it, we're looking at, say you enter the market here, you're looking at least 500 pips right there, easy. 500 pips right there for that movement alone, eh? And easy. So I kept going in and coming out of the market, going in and coming in. You can't do that. That's costly, right? Because every time you go in, that's costing you right away, right? So it's better you go in and then you know, ride it and then come out. But you'll only be able to do that, have some confidence, if you did your planning before and you have an idea what you think is going to happen. Right? So if I had done that and I was sticking, you know, planned properly, then I'd know that, listen, you have to keep an eye for this breakout. Once the breakout is happening, then all I could have done is use your stop loss. So even if with a trade that time, just use the stop loss to capture everything, right? And the possibility, once you're confident in what is happening, then there's a possibility to take out multiple positions, as you know, and that will increase the amount of returns, right? But obviously you'd have to be confident somewhat in terms of what is happening. But the thing is, as it goes along, as it increases and you're capturing cash, you're able to buy into it a little bit more, right? And so basically you wouldn't be using your existing capital to buy into it, and so that's why it's important now then you'll be working with the stop loss. So, you know, we're just sharpening up in terms of the practice and how realistic this thing can be, right? So that when you're in the real thing, you're not that flustered, right? You have a real good idea, you know, when this thing is pulling back on you, what is it that you can manage, how does it look, and so you know when to close out, you know, what's happening, right? So this is as well, not as real as I can get it, but it's pretty near, because it's $1,000 we're starting with, we're working with right here for the demo. And yeah, man, so we're just going to work it going forward and see how best we can get this thing done, right? And so with the scalping, though, I notice you have to be careful, because then you get trigger happy thinking that everything that's happening you can make money, but that's not so. You really want to choose a situation where there's actually movement, some serious movement in the market, right? And so to scalp, right? When I say serious, like it's going up and down, but you have to have some decent movement in the market, I believe, you know, to scalp. I guess it depends on your indicators as well, the type of indicators that you have, how it is set up, and if it can handle scalping. If it responds fast enough, or it gives you the indication when to go in, when to come out, right? But again, really, the big thing that you should always be prepared for, you should never lose sight of the breakouts, because that is what is sure to bring in the money. You have to be careful though, because if it's volatile, I saw, let me see if I can get back at it. Saw something that happened earlier this month, right? And it showed this week, I think, it showed the importance of having your stop loss, right? If I can find it. But the movement in the candlestick was so volatile that it would have hit out your whatever stop loss that you have in place. It certainly would have hit it out, and then it still continued in the direction that it was going, right? So, you know, you have to be pretty careful. think it was, and if it was this. Alright, but you have to be pretty careful. I'm not sure I'm finding, but you have to be pretty careful in terms of what you're doing. Right? And you know, just practice. Alright? And then you know, so that you do your thing, right? We have some of the best athletes in Jamaica, but the key thing that they do is practice before they go on the big stage. So they lose a couple of races, but you practice in terms of the behind the scene work, and so that's what we're trying to do here. Right? Yeah, so that's it for the weekend pretty much. Yeah, so we're just going to see how we can manage this account from $1,000. One thing I should point out though, it's easy to lose your money in this market. So if you look right here, I was able to lose $86,000, although it was, you know, pretty much intentional, and that happens in what, a couple of days. So I was able to lose $86,000. So it's telling you that, listen, you know. But again, I tried to use based on what I wanted to do. So I wanted to start, you know, have the account at $1,000. So I tried intentionally to trade against, go in the opposite position for whatever the trade was going, wherever the trade was going. Obviously I was successful most of the time. Some of the time I wasn't successful, right? So pretty much it's the same thing that I'm trying to do now, but in the right way. So whichever direction the trade is going, you're gonna trade it. Once it's going out against you, you cut the trade, right? And so at all time, the intention is to preserve the capital, right? Obviously, we might have some continuous movement going down, but I just think that's it for me for the day at this point in time. You know, so you know, just gonna leave it as is. To the 1 minute chart there, right? Yeah. So that's it, guys. Again, subscribe, touch the notification bell. Please put that on, turn that on, and let's keep going at it. And you know, we'll just see how this goes. So peace out, everybody. Have a pretty good weekend, and it will be Sunday again when we look on the market to see what's happening. Alright, but hopefully, as I said, between this month and next month, we hope to be in a position that we're gonna go live, and that is why I'm trying as much as possible to get this thing, put this thing in a situation. So while I have a certain strategy and you're fine-tuning it, you're trying to put yourself in a position to be in a more realistic position as possible in terms of how much money you'll have. Can you build the account and can you hold the account? Right, so that's a key thing, and that's what we're going to be looking at this one. Alright, so peace out again, and thanks.